Aleykümselam, merhaba. Hello, my name is Denitsa İbükücü, but my Muslim name is Amina. Actually, everybody in Turkey are calling me Amine. So, yes, you can call me Amine İbükücü. I'm 31 years old. I'm Bulgarian. Right now, I'm a housewife, mom of two, and a wife. I'm not working right now, but normally I have a master's degree in law. I graduated Bulgarian University in Sofia. I grew up in a Christianic family, Orthodox family, you can say, but my mother and father, they were just by name Christians, as most of the people in Bulgaria. I think the reason of that is that from historical and political point of view, Bulgaria was at the power of communism. The political order in Bulgaria was communism for a very long time, and as you know, the idea of these people is against the religion. The Bulgarian people grown up with the idea that religion is something bad. It is created by capitalism for controlling the people. It was even forbidden to celebrate our holidays. When democracy came, I was just born on this time, actually, so I didn't see communism, but I'm explaining these things to know better my story. So when the democracy came, people were confused, in my opinion. They started celebrating the holidays, but most of the people weren't attending churches, they weren't praying. In our family, we never sit on the table and speak about the religion, why we are here, is there a God or not, what's our mission on earth. Just on Easter and Christmas, we were going to the church, we were lighting candle, we were celebrating, that's all. Out of this, one of my grandma is a religious person, but again, we never spoke about it. I just saw how she's praying. She's using religious words like Inshallah, Allah Korusun, of course in Bulgarian. She's not calling God Allah, she's calling God, of course in Bulgarian. My other grandma, which also affected me very much in my life, she's believer, but she was believer, but she wasn't religious. She was strongly against the religion and all the time speaking like all these religious books were made by people with the idea of control the society. So this is how I grown up. But actually, even since a little child, in me there is one idea that there is God, there is Creator, and it doesn't have any appearance. It doesn't have image. It is just something like great power, something which is beyond us as human, something which creates us, which loves us, and it's everywhere around us, and for sure it doesn't have any shape or color. This was what I was feeling inside of me. Every time when I was entering a Christianic church, I was feeling myself very weird. There was specific environment there, religious environment, spiritual environment, but everything was coming so weird to me. These icons everywhere, the faces of people, saints. We were supposed to kissing the icons. Some of the rituals, they were giving us piece of bread and glass of wine, and they were saying this is the flesh of Jesus, this is the blood of Jesus, you should drink it. This was coming very weird to me. I was thinking that there's something wrong with that. Whenever I look up to the up part of the church, in every church there is image of God. Image is like old person with long white beard and long white hair, and this was supposed to be God. And every time I was looking, I was feeling this is so wrong. It should not be like that. God doesn't have any body. It's not something material. It should not be. And for sure, I don't think that God looks like us, like human. This was when I was a child. I was thinking like that. When I first met my husband and I understood that in Islam there is no image of God, that thing immediately I took as sign that this is the correct way, because inside deep in me, I believe that thing anyway. So partly this is my story before the Islam. My first encounter, I think, was when I was the age of 11, when that horrible terrorist attack happened in America, 9/11. This was the first time when I heard about the Islam, and unfortunately negatively. But I was just child, and I didn't give so much value to that, what happened. Just everybody was speaking about it, we're watching on television. Another thing which I want to mention is from, again, political point of view. In our educational system, since kindergarten, we are taught that Turkish people are bad. Because of the Ottoman Empire, 500 years, we were one country with Bulgaria. Bulgaria is older than Turkish country, and we are very proud with that. All the time they're mentioning on that thing. And when we lost our control over our land and the Turks came, they're using this period, maybe this is again part of the communistic republic, I'm not sure what was the meaning of that, but it's wrong. Now I can understand it's really wrong, and most of the people every day they're getting away of this idea. They're trying to change it last 10 years, I can see that, but most of the society is thinking like that negatively against the Turkish people and of course against Islam. The main idea here is that the Ottoman Empire was trying to make everyone Muslim by force. And they're saying, or you're going to lose your head, or you're going to become Muslim. And they were taking the wives, they were taking the children, making them soldiers, making them killing their own father and mother when they start working. This idea with hate, we grown up with hate against the Islam and against the Turkish people. So that's why I wasn't very looking warm about the Turkish people like whole. Not so much about Islam, about the Turks against that. When I met my husband, everything changed because I saw the other side. I understood that this is wrong. Anyway, by growing, I start, even before I met my husband, I started thinking that this is not so logical. There's something wrong in this story. And after meeting my husband, he told me, okay, let's say 500 years we were making you on purpose by force Muslims. Why are you Christian now? Why there's so many churches? Why the population of Bulgaria is Christianic? And like that, I started thinking that he's right, and our government is doing something wrong with this idea. Our educational system is not correct. I can even say when I start living here, there's one serial, Ertuğrul Dirişli. I'm not sure if I'm saying it correctly. The sign, the way the people were living there, this tents, they were making the costumes, the woman, exactly the same clothes, exactly the same sign, this sign. You can see in our Bulgarian books about the first Bulgarian people. Actually, all Bulgarians are grown up from the same part of the world. Yes, the breaking point here is, as I mentioned earlier, when I met my husband. On this time, we were both students in university, and I started being curious about Islam because, as I said, I started seeing the other side of it, the good side, and I started being curious. Actually, when we were speaking about Islam, I was asking him, why do you believe in that? Why do you believe in this? What is that? What is this? A lot of questions I had, and every time he was giving me very good answer. I was fighting with him verbally. I was trying to show him that he's wrong. I was saying, okay, there is God. I believe in that, but seriously, we don't need these religious books. This is from all times. You believe in that so strong because your mother and father believe in that, because you went to religious school, you grown up like that, that's why. You're such a person. I'm not a religious person, I was saying. But by the time I understood that he's right and I'm wrong, it took me almost 3 years. In these 3 years, I was fighting with myself, with my ego. I didn't want to take responsibility. I knew that this is deep inside me, I knew that Islam is the truth, but that I believe that if I become Muslim, I should do everything perfectly. I should pray, I should cover myself, and this is very difficult for a person, especially when you grown up in different environment, everybody are free, and living completely different lifestyle. That's why I just wanted to postpone that thing. I didn't want to take responsibility of that. Alhamdulillah, the moment came and I became Muslim. I just told myself, enough, you have to take a decision. You can't live like that anymore. If you want to continue your life together with this person, if you want to create family and have children and educate them, you should walk on the same path. You should not stay in the middle, because in the future these children is going to ask you, are you Christian, are you Muslim, what's your belief, why you don't think different, why you think different like my father? And I'm not going to be able to give answer of these questions. I should just be a responsible person to give good example of my children and my family. That's why I just sit down and spoke deep with myself, and I decided that even if everything is wrong, let's say that there is no Islam, there is no God, after that there is nothing, then even if I become Muslim, I'm not going to lose anything, because after that there is nothing. But let's say that my husband is right, Islam is the truth, and we're going to be judged after that, then better to become Muslim as fast as possible and to try to ask for forgiveness from God and try to be a good Muslim and good person. So this was the moment that I decided to do it, and Alhamdulillah, since then I'm trying to walk on this path. And yes, Islam, in my opinion, is definitely a path. It's a journey. It's not something it's not the final point, because all your life you're learning. This path is never ending. Till our death, we're trying to be a good person. Every day we're fighting with our good and bad side of our character, with our soul, with our ego. For sure, you cannot say, I learned everything, now I just can sit and wait. No, till the end you're fighting. Till the rest of your life, God is examining you. And yeah, it's not easy, but this is how it is. That's why we're here. This is our mission, actually, on earth. This is what I believe in. The thing which maybe affected me the most in Islam is the whole system of Islam, which is so logical. There is answer for everything, there is rule for everything. If you follow these rules, your life is going to be so much easier. Of course, following these rules is quite difficult, especially if you haven't used to with this kind of life. And unfortunately, nowadays, even in a Muslim country as Turkey, there is a lot of Muslim people, but not everyone are living according to Islam. That's why it's really difficult to follow the rules. But if you find it straight in you, not to look at the others, just to look at your way, just to follow the rules, to follow the Islam, then easiness is coming. Actually, Islam is perfect. People are imperfect. People are making it difficult, and people are giving bad example, showing Islam as negative. That's why you should just look at the Islam Quran and not at the people, not how people are living. One of the things also which affects me a lot, as I mentioned earlier, the fact that in Islam there is no images, God doesn't have image. That thing affects me a lot. Also about the prayer, about namaz. One time we're having argue with my husband, and I was saying, okay, if God is so perfect, why does He need our prayer plus 5 times per day? It's too much. Why does God needs that? And my husband said, of course God doesn't need that. You need that as a human to control your soul, to control your nafis. That thing impressed me very much. Also. Another thing is the position of a woman in Islam. In Europe, in non-Islamic world, people think that woman is second, maybe even third place person, human, like a child, which doesn't have any rights. I understood this is not true. Even before the Islam, the position of the woman was much more difficult, and really, woman didn't have any rules, any rights. Excuse me. With the Islam come, even from inheritance point of view, woman had the right of inheritance. Before that, no, she didn't have. Everything belonged to the man. At the same time, in Christianity, there wasn't such a possibility of the woman. So this was very impressive for me. Main information I took from my husband. He has very good education about Islam. He finished in his country, in Turkey, he finished religious school. So I trust him about information, but of course, when my curiosity started growing in me, I wanted to learn more and more. I just started looking everywhere possible for information, books, on internet, people asking a lot of questions. And one time I went to one book festival in my capital city in Bulgaria, in Sofia, and then I found one group of people that were selling religious books. From this place I bought a lot of books, and they gave me as a present the translation of the Quran in Bulgarian. I loved it so much. I immediately started reading and understanding. It was a great experience. I even can't explain it. I was so curious. Immediately I wanted to take as much possible information as I can. Out of this, my husband had one friend from school who got married to a Bulgarian woman. And just like me, she also became Muslim, and even she covered herself on this time while living in Bulgaria. And I was so impressed by this story. I was thinking, this girl is crazy. How can you do such a thing in Bulgaria? This is such a risk. People's gonna attack you on the street. I met her and understood that she's a clever girl. She's studying pharmacy. She's coming from a normal family like me. She's not crazy. She's just a normal person. Another source of information I found from one group of women. They were making a religious conversation. In Turkish, we're calling sohbet. We were gathering together every weekend evening, and we were reading small part of Quran, and after that we were reading small part of the books of this person, and we were having religious conversation. Like, why do we need to cover ourselves? Why need to pray? Why belief is so important for the Muslim people? That thing also affected me. There was a lot of women. They were all educated women. They were covered, but they were studying for a doctors or a pharmacist. And my fear of becoming Muslim started getting less and less, and I took the information which I needed. I found it there. Before my conversion, I may say that there was something missing. I didn't know what exactly it is. Something like free space which needs to be filled. Some desire about spiritual guiding, or maybe answering of the question, what's our mission on this world? Why we came here? After finding Islam, after converting myself, this answer came to me, and I felt myself relaxed. I found peace with myself. Before the conversion, I already mentioned that it wasn't very good. I was looking with negative eyes. I was thinking the Muslim people and actually any other religious people were a little bit old-fashioned and maybe not well educated, or maybe the women were in bad condition. They were traumatized. They were by force covered or something like that. It wasn't real, but unfortunately this is the image which media is showing in the West world. Firstly, I hide from my family and friends that I became Muslim. Maybe they were suspected, they were waiting for that because with my husband we were already together, and I was giving them clues about the idea that maybe one day I'm going to become Muslim as well. Maybe one day I'm going to cover myself. But everybody were running away from the topic. Whenever I opened this topic with my mom or dad, they didn't want to listen. Even now, after so many years, they just don't want to listen about it. Okay, there is God, it's your decision. Don't force us to listen. Don't force us to become Muslim. We don't want that. They're trying to run away from responsibility maybe. Sometimes my father is getting curious about it, but just because he's curious person. He just like different kind of knowledge, I think. My friends, most of them, maybe 90% of them, I vanished for them after becoming Muslim. They just run away from me. Most of them said, why are you doing that? Did you make research about your own religion? Did you read the Bible? I think you make a mistake. Why are you doing that thing to yourself? You're too young. Your husband is gonna change when you go to Turkey. Don't do it. Everybody were negative. Most of the people were negative. Maybe just few people told me, this is good, just don't be afraid. Maybe going to Turkey, maybe becoming Muslim is going to be better for you. Very less people told me that thing. I was fighting there was big pressure on me about this decision. My main recommendation is don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of making research about Islam. And if it's possible, start reading the Quran in your own language, because it's very important to understand what's written inside. And also go to community, try to speak with people who are practicing the right Islam. If around you there is no such a people, just find the correct books. And again, the main source, I think it should be the Quran. After that, everything else. And no fear. Don't be afraid. You're not going to lose anything if you just try. If you try to make your view bigger, if you try to be more tolerant, and to get rid of your prejudice.